Hello everybody and welcome back. About 3 months ago I bought this Segway Mini Pro Street in Germany on a crazy impulse. I had the money to spare and I was looking for something that would make me, well, get some more time out of my bad knees and back and whatever. And I haven't regretted that decision for 1 second because this thing is just really amazing. And I've spent the last 30 days almost using it exclusively. Trying not to use the car, not to use a motorbike, just take the Segway and do everything that I would usually do. Now for those of you that don't know, in Germany everything has to be street legal. And if you want to drive something on the street that can go faster than walking speed and that is not a bicycle, you need insurance and you need to have all the paperwork to get that insurance. And it's kind of a pain sometimes in Germany. So basically what you need is you need a license plate holder, you need backlights, you need front lights, you need to have reflectors on the front and back, and you need a bell. As some of you will probably have already noticed, this is not the original license plate holder that came with the Mini Pro Street. The original was quite a design fail. It was very loose. It basically it fouled on the motor mount, which is kind of bad because it was such soft steel, and I removed it and replaced it by one that I 3D printed, and that is now placed on one of the sideboards. And although it's quite wobbly, it is a lot better than the original because you can now get off to the back of it without the risk of getting entangled in there. So that was a big improvement. The only other update that I did to the Segway was when I knew that I was driving only in daylight, I used to remove the front lamp. I added the slightly enlarged reflector to the front, and I added a drinks holder, which is quite a smart addition if you're going for longer drives. Anything else that I used to carry when going shopping was I used to wear a backpack because putting anything on the handlebar is not such a good idea because it's really counterproductive to the stability of the device. And yeah, that wasn't really good when I tried that out. So just a few facts about this Segway Mini Pro. It's got 2 wheel motors with 400 watts standard output each. Each motor can go 800 watts for a very short time, and it can go 2 kilowatts for emergency braking or for restoring balance, but that is extremely short. It has energy recovery upon braking, and it carries persons up to 100 kilos and 2 meters of height. I myself am about 180 centimeters high and I weigh about 90 kilos, which puts me into the, I suppose, top level of the users. So anybody who's smaller or lighter than me should see better performance out of this than I did. So if we have a look at the Segway Ninebot app for a second, we can see that I have 397 kilometers on the Segway right now. Before I started the 30-day test, I had about 180, and I'm pretty happy with it. The app is pretty simple, and you don't really need it to just ride, but if you want any information about the Segway, then it's a pretty nice source of information. You can see that I've got about 25 kilometers remaining. I have been able to get around 27 to 32 kilometers out of the battery on each run. And I think it's been fairly consistent. I haven't seen any loss of battery life or anything apart from that. When it gets hot, it really starts to slow you down. But that's okay because the speed limit is derived from the mainframe temperature, from your driving style, and from the remaining battery. So once the battery gets drained, you get slow. As you can probably see from the state of the outside of the wheels, this thing has already had its share of run-ins with the elements. It's scratched, not badly, but slightly on the wheels because I suppose that's a design issue. But I'm pretty happy that the plastic out there is pretty rugged and it can take quite a lot of beating. So if you run into, I don't know, any rocks or something on the edge of the road, nothing's gonna happen. And the device handles pretty neat, not throwing you off or anything, just tries to keep balance and come to a stop. Talking about stopping, I did have a few emergency brake situations and I wish it would brake a little bit better, but all in all it's pretty controllable. So yeah, it could be better, but I suppose it's okay. As you can probably see from the blocks in front of the wheels, the Segway Pro Mini Street does not balance anymore. So if you let go of it, it's going to start going forward. That is kind of an issue because it will go quite a while before it figures out it's going too fast. It tries to right itself, it will wrong itself, and at some point it's just going to give up. But always keep a hold of it. Well, some facts about the driving performance. As I said, I'm getting around 25 to 30 kilometers per battery. That is pretty good. With my 90 kilos, it will go up a hill that has about 12.5 to 13.5% inclination. It will go up, but it will be really slow. It will be around walking speed, but I don't have to get off. It doesn't start snaking. It will just beep its little heart out. And beeping is one of those things that this thing really likes to do. Well, it's basically beeping all the time. It's beeping when you're going too fast. It's beeping when you're going too fast uphill. It's beeping when you're going too fast downhill. It's beeping when you're going at exactly the right speed and it's just decided to lower the speed limit. It's going to beep at you. It will beep when it's bored. It will beep when it has been left standing for too long, causing it to get bored. Sometimes it's beeping for no reason at all, and other times it's not beeping when it should be, because you should draw attention to yourself and you're kind of thinking, it's going to beep and somebody's going to notice me. No, that's not when it's going to beep. It will also beep when it's too warm. It will beep when it's too cold. It will beep when the battery is too full to go down the hill. And it will beep when the battery is too empty to go up the hill. So basically it's beeping all the time, and it's got a pretty loud beeper. So possibly the best thing to do is just learn when you think it's beeping and put some tape over the beeper's output. That's what I did. So now that this thing has about 400 kilometers on the meter, did anything change? Well, yes. I've got the feeling that the motors have aged a bit. The handlebar is not as tight as it used to be, and it appears to be a little on the slow side sometimes. When the battery is full, everything is fine. I do still get the full mileage out of the battery, but I have the feeling that it's starting to limit earlier. But that could also have been caused by a firmware update that happened around 3 weeks ago. So I'm not quite sure about that. With 400 kilometers on the clock, it's still going strong. And I hope it's going to be a lot more. So, what was my daily commute like? I live in Germany in a reasonably sized town. We're close to the Black Forest, so everything is either uphill or downhill. There's very little flat road or anything. And that didn't seem to be an issue for the Segway. Also, my daily commute could be described as being about 5 kilometers up a hill and 5 kilometers down a hill. So I actually have around 35 to 50 meters in height difference that I have to get across. And it did that no problem. So I could go 10 kilometers to work, 10 kilometers back home, recharge, do the next thing on the next day. And since the weather's been really nice in Germany, which is, well, not unusual, but that doesn't happen that often, I was actually able to get about 20 working days onto the little ride. And that was really cool. And it made it, and I had fun. Possibly the greatest thing about these little devices is that you can actually, when you go shopping, you take them into the store. You drive up to the entrance, you get off, you turn it off, you turn it around, and you push it through the store. And I actually found a way to attach my backpack to the handlebar so I could really use it for a shopping cart. And I enjoyed that a lot because you go out of the store, turn it back on, and you take off back home again or to wherever you need to go next. So that is really handy. And I suppose as long as there are not too many of these things around, people are going to remain quite friendly to them. So how does the Segway Mini Pro compare to a big Segway? Well, actually pretty good. The riding speed is limited to 18 kilometers an hour in Germany for both devices. Both devices will get to around 30 kilometers on a single charge. And both devices have the same driving performance. That is pretty cool. Also, the small one only weighs about 17.5 kilos, so it is quite easy to pick up. The big Segway is a lot heavier and you can't just lug it around. Also, you can remove the handlebar very easy and dump this thing into the back of your car, taking it wherever you need it. In fact, I took it onto my vacation and I really loved that. In my opinion, the small Segway makes a lot more sense than the big one does. The Ninebot Segway Mini Pro does feel a lot more nimble than the big one does. And it doesn't have a big disadvantage because of the small tires. It can still go up a curb at reasonable speeds and go down the curb just as well. The big one might be a little bit more stable, but the small one is, as I said, a lot more nimble and will very easily turn on the spot. And I think the small one is the better choice if you don't want to go on very long rides and you don't want to stand very high. It doesn't have any disadvantage to the big one. So my conclusion to this 30-day test is that it is a very good mode of transport. It is cheap. It did cost me around 780 euros. which is a lot of money, but comparing it to a moped or an e-bike, it is not that pricey. And it is very versatile. It performed very good. It is light and it just handles well. You can take it everywhere. And that basically outperforms all the other options that I had. So, in my opinion, my 30 days of test proved that this is the right way to go. Thank you very much for watching, and bye-bye.